This is a story about a woman named Sophie who has a partner named Mark. And one day, Sophie and Mark were in the kitchen together and they were preparing a meal together. And Sophie was standing there chopping vegetables while Mark was at the stove making a sauce. And Sophie, leaning over, saw Mark stirring the sauce with a spoon, and she thought to herself, "Oh, Mark doesn't know how to stir properly." So she reached over and took his spoon and started stirring for him. Now, Mark looked at her in surprise and he frowned and pulled the spoon back and said, "What are you doing?" And Sophie stopped stirring and looked at him as if he had hurt her feelings and placed her hand on her chest and said, "I was just trying to help you." And she said it in a really dramatic tone. Mark sighed and shook his head and turned away from her and continued stirring the sauce on his own. And Sophie just stood there with her arms crossed, looking at him with this hurt and self-righteous expression on her face. So let's think about this for a second. Was Sophie wrong for helping Mark? Well, I mean, he didn't ask for her help, but I don't think it was a bad thing for her to want to help him out. I mean, they're a couple, and I assume that they're trying to make a meal together. So if she wants to be a good partner and help him out, that's not wrong. But at the same time, Mark was clearly annoyed by her actions. Like he pulled away from her, and he frowned, and he sighed, and he turned away from her. So he was clearly not happy about what she did. And it's not wrong for Mark to feel that way either, because, sometimes when you're cooking, you just get into your own little zone, and you have your own little rhythm going on. And if somebody interrupts that rhythm by taking your spoon or trying to help you, it can be really annoying. And I think that Mark was being a bit too sensitive about it. It's not a big deal, it's just a spoon. But at the same time, I do understand why he was annoyed. But Sophie, on the other hand, I think she was being a bit too self-righteous about it. Like she said, "I was just trying to help you," in this really dramatic tone, as if Mark had done something terrible to hurt her feelings. And it's like, dude, you're stirring a pot of sauce, it's not that deep. And then she just stood there with her arms crossed, looking at him with this hurt expression on her face. And it's like, girl, you're just stirring a pot of sauce. It's not that deep. So I think that both of them were kind of being a bit too dramatic about the whole situation. It's just a spoon, lighten up a bit. But anyway, that's the end of the story. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.